You're listening to the Tao of Indifference, sex, dating, and relationship advice for an indifferent world. For more advice and tips, check out taoofindifference.com or follow us on Twitter at indifferent_D.
Hello, listeners, and welcome to the Tao of Indifference. I am your host, Demetrius. I am joined by my co-host, my bro-host, with the least amount of hosts, I think.
The least amount of hosts?
Yeah.
That is me.
Yeah. Delaney, what's up?
I'm well. How are you?
I am doing very well, actually. I'm doing more well than you.
I don't think so.
I'm doing more better. Today's topic is all about fetishes. I'm going to be answering some questions, and I'm going to give you a couple tips on how to discuss your fetish with your partner, assuming that you didn't meet in a way that you both know that you have fetishes. There are certain websites like FetLife, which are about people who have fetishes meeting other people with those same fetishes. Assuming that you didn't meet that way, you probably need a little bit of advice on how to introduce those fetishes to your partner. But first, dating advice questions from the Dating Advice subreddit. Without further ado, because this is going to be a short one today, I will be reading those questions because they are wonderful. They warm my heart. First question is from Fat Girl Realness. Fat Girl Realness asks, so there's a guy who has a fat fetish, and he's into me, heavily. I just want to pause really quickly and say that I didn't edit this question whatsoever, so any puns about weight were written by the writer of this question. Continue. I weigh 288 pounds, and he thinks I'm smart, funny, pretty, bold, crazy. Everything he's looking for in a girl. I like him too. We haven't met in person yet, only because I canceled on him twice. Now I put him on the back burner, but if I turned up the heat, we'd be seeing each other regularly, I think. For some reason, his fat fetish really puts me off. It wasn't just like, oh, by the way, I have a fat fetish. It was like, hey, I have a fat fetish, and I'm into big bellies. What size is your belly? A, how the hell do I answer that? B, does he really like me, or is he using me for my fat? Part of me thinks, bitch, you've never had a boyfriend before. This guy loves talking to you for hours, really wants to get to know you. Stop being so damn picky. I'm so confused. Any big girls had this issue before. I'm not a big girl.
Neither am I.
I'm a big man. I'm a large man. We were just weighing ourselves. But in all seriousness, I do want to address this question because while it is a funny, her username's hilarious, and the way she phrased it was funny, a lot of humor, but when it comes to a fetish, when someone has a fetish, it doesn't matter if it's a fat fetish or a specific fetish around ethnicity, body type, whatever, you really do have to be careful about, does this person want to date me, or does this person want to date the idea of what I am, or part of who I am? In your case, I would ask him, or not even ask him about it. Don't ask him about it, because he's been upfront about his fetish, and that's cool, but you need to make sure that you guys are getting along, like you're knowing and learning about each other, rather than just, let's learn about how you're sexually attracted to me.
Yeah.
So above all else, try to get to know him, and make sure that he's trying to get to know you. If he's not making efforts to get to know you, it is definitely all about his fetish.
Yeah.
And how he's attracted to you because of the fetish. And if he is trying to get to know you, then, it's both. He can be attracted to you and also want to get to know you. But if he isn't trying to get to know you, he might just want to have sex with you, and that's about it. And I wish you the best of luck. So, question number 2, and I kept the subject in because it was great. This question is from I55Hungay, or the subject is, if I want to break up with her without causing her to cry, should I just admit that I have a diaper fetish? Again, this question, the subject is funny, but I respect, and Delaney respects all your fetishes.
Yes.
You do you, as long as you're consenting adults. But that is hilarious. You have to admit. Should I just tell her I have a diaper fetish? I55Hungay says, I expect my diaper fetishism to be a deal breaker, but she wouldn't find out on her own because I hide my diapers and, quote-unquote, kid stuff real well. So instead of saying, I want to break up, I just want to tell her, I haven't admitted this before, but I think now's a good time I have a diaper fetish. How would you feel if you were being told this for the first time? Would the breakup happen as I'd hope, or will she still cry and make me feel guilty? And yes, the fetish is true. People in the real world wouldn't know that about me because I hide it well. I still hesitate to tell this even to my therapist. I would advise that you don't do this, because what you're doing to yourself, more than to her, is furthering your own guilt about your fetish. The fact that you are saying, I won't tell my therapist, who I pay money to listen to my problems, but I will tell this girl so that she'll break up with me, says a lot more about you than it does about her. So should you tell her that to break up with her? No. Man up and tell her, I don't want to be with you anymore. There's no excuse for it. Because, for all you know, she might say, that's awesome. You know what? I love you so much that I'm not into this fetish, but I will try it.
Yeah.
So why would... And then you have to break up with her, and then you're really a jerk. So break up with her if you want to break up with her, and don't use your fetish as a crutch to sort of get out of a relationship. You should really be... I mean, I'm not saying you have to be out, telling the world, hey, I have a diaper fetish, and it involves X, Y, Z, but you shouldn't feel so much shame that you think that this will automatically break you up. I mean, it could potentially break you up, but if this is something that you need, don't use it as a thing that forces people to break up with you. And that's it. Those are great questions.
Yes, they were.
They were amazing. I love them. On to the topic itself. So how do you address your fetish with your partner? I don't particularly have anything that's out of the norm, like diaper fetish.
Yeah.
But some people do. I mean, some people have fetishes like that. Some people have different fetishes. I've encountered tons of people. The most common fetish that people are aware of is, of course, BDSM, bondage, domination, sadomasochism.
Yeah.
The bondage is, of course, the binding, and
Yeah.
the domination is the master-submissive dynamic. And, of course, you can have all four, or you can have part of it. You can have sadism, but not necessarily have the bondage involved.
Yeah.
It's a mixed bag. And there's a ton of other fetishes out there. There's some people who...
Foot fetish?
Foot fetish is also a very common one.
Yeah.
And I think any fetish that you have, it's not common. Foot fetishes aren't common. They're uncommon. And that sort of is why we talk about them the way that we talk about them. Like we laugh about it, haha, But, in all seriousness, a fetish is usually something... If you have a genuine fetish, it's something that you need sexually to get off. Like, some people like these things. Like, some people are like, oh, I like bondage, but it's not something I need.
Yeah.
You genuinely have a fetish. It's something you need, so you should tell your partner the same way that you would tell your partner, I need this to be happy, or I need this to have pleasurable sex. So, the first tip is to tell your partner, but tell them in a way that not only makes it clear that this is something that you want, but also makes it clear that, well, let me rephrase it. You should tell your partner about your fetish, but you need to know, if you don't get it, how happy that will make you. So say I don't, but say I have a foot fetish.
Yeah.
Now, I can date girls who are okay with that and let me do things to their feet, or I could date girls who don't do that. Or who are like, nope, don't touch my feet, and I'm okay with that. Now, say another person has a foot fetish. They cannot date women who don't let them do foot fetishy stuff to their feet. You need to make it clear to your partner that this is a fetish you have and how much of it you need. So if you're somebody who has diaper fetish, but if you've never told your partner, that could potentially be why he's breaking up with her, but it also... Is it something you need, or is it something you want? So you need to tell your partner, but you need to make it clear, is it something I need or want? Yeah. More than anything else. Because if you absolutely need your fetish fulfilled and your partner's not willing to do that, you might not want to date them. If it's something that you just like, and you think it's cool, but you can give or take it, maybe, you tell your partner, but you can say, it's cool if you want to do that, but not. And, that applies to all fetishes, but it also could just apply to your preferences. Like, you might say, oh, I really like this, but it's cool if we don't do it every time,
Yeah.
And people just do that normally, and if you have a fetish, you should treat it like every other part, because I've made it a point to say fetishes are uncommon, but that doesn't mean that they're not normal. If it's your sexual experience, if it's something that you want and you need, it's normal for you, it's just uncommon, not normal. And more than anything else, communication. Because your partner might be weirded out, and you need to figure out if that's the person you want to be with. Like, say you want to pee on your partner. Yeah. You need to tell them, don't surprise them with it. That's the
Yeah. You
Don't surprise someone with your fetish. Because as open-minded and as I'm very, very open-minded, and I'll try anything once. But if I was dating someone and I showed up to their apartment and they were wearing a diaper, I'd be like, I'm gonna go. One, because you didn't warn me, and two, that's not my thing.
Yeah.
So more than anything else, you should never spring a fetish on someone. No matter how benign you might think it is, like, you might think, oh, my foot fetish, no big deal. Some people are weirded out by feet, and then you touch them and you freak them out. Just communicate with your partner the same way you communicate about, like, your preferences for, say, anal sex. Like, don't surprise your partner by putting it in their butt, so.
That would be harmful.
It literally would be harmful for some people, There's a lot of, that's a whole other. We haven't gone into that. I don't know if we're ever going to
go that deep.
I don't know if we're going to go that deep into anal sex. Oh boy. I think that's it. Delaney, when it comes to fetishes, I think communicate, figure out if it's a want or a need, and never spring your fetish on someone.
Yeah.
Do you think of any other way that would help?
Maybe try bringing it on from the beginning, so you don't have to worry about doing it once you're together.
I was thinking
besides the website, like maybe like not first thing you mention on a date, but like you just mention it.
Yeah, early. I was going through it in my head. Excuse me, and I was thinking, how soon? So let me ask you, how soon if you had a fetish, no matter what it is, if you had a fetish, how soon into the relationship would you tell your partner you had a fetish?
Before we became intimate. Yeah, before
you became intimate. Thank you.
Yeah, it's trying to be polite about it.
It was very good. Because intimacy is not necessarily sex.
Yeah.
No, that's good. Actually, yes. That's it. Tell your partner before you become intimate. Because that would suck if you're, like, dating someone, you have great sex,
and then, like, a year into it, you're just like, by the way...
Not even a year, like 3 months in, they're like, hey, by the way, I need you to choke me until I'm unconscious. That's what I need to get off.
Yeah.
I didn't know that when I signed up.
Yeah.
Yeah, and, a lot of people are very, depending on your fetish, and depending on the person, a lot of people are very much willing to go with it, even if they're not, like, 100% into it, but you need to tell them beforehand, You don't tell someone after they've invested time with you that, by the way, I need this to feel the most amount of pleasure. I think that's it. Delaney, do you have anything to say before we close out?
That was a good show.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It's good to have you back on the couch that we record together.
It's a good studio.
I appreciate it. It was a huge mess. I think that's it. Delaney, you want to say goodbye?
Have a good day.
Thank you. That was so stilted. All right. Good luck out there. Bye.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Tao of Indifference podcast. If you liked this episode and want more sex, dating and relationship advice, subscribe to the Tao of Indifference on iTunes or Stitcher. Follow us on Twitter at indifferent_D and check out the blog at taoofindifference.com for more sex, dating and relationship advice. Thank you for listening and good luck out there.